Inflation is out of control right now. The real estate sector continues to set record sales prices and wages aren't keeping up, which leaves us with an affordability issue. Will the Fed's plan to increase interest rates put mortgages out of reach? If you were planning to purchase a home this year but are now fearing it's too late, stay tuned and we'll discuss this question and more coming up next. Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Jason.fiallo, your native Virginia realtor with Long & Foster Real Estate, Christie's International, based here in Northern Virginia. In today's video, we'll discuss the state of our economy as it pertains to inflation in the local and national real estate markets. For buyers who are actively searching for their next home, many are beginning to question if they'll even be able to find one, and if so, will they be able to afford it? With real estate continuing to appreciate at an accelerated rate, mortgage rates inching towards 4%, and the U.S. inflation rate is at a 40-year high, something has to give. The Fed is implementing monetary policy to slow down inflation and demand for new home purchases through rate hikes. Historically low mortgage rates and the increase in the U.S. money supply have kept our economy alive during the pandemic and created not only a robust economy, but a thriving real estate market. The Fed has unintentionally contributed to an economic inflation at the highest level since 1982, with a year-over-year percentage above 7%. Many consumers fear the worst is on the way with a housing market correction on the horizon. What if I told you 2022 would be another record year for sales prices and that right now is still an opportune time to buy, even despite inflation? I know you'd probably say, Jason, you're crazy. You sound like a typical real estate agent who's always telling people it's a great time to buy. And to be clear, I'm not. And I should also point out that I'm not saying that this is a great market to buy in, just that it's not a bad time. And here's why. Current projections for real estate appreciation in 2022 are optimistic for homeowners. This week, Zillow came out with an updated forecast that went above their initial estimates back in January, which suggested home sale prices would grow by over 16%. They are now projecting those prices to peak at about 22%. Of course, not everyone agrees with this assessment, as I would consider this number ambitious given the year we just had in 2021. Fannie Mae has a more conservative outlook for this year, projecting sales price increases of 7.6%. Even if we end up on the lower end of projections, homeowners and home buyers, particularly those who buy early in the year, stand to benefit from inflation as it plays a crucial role in appreciation. Speaking of that, many people are selling their homes and upsizing because they recognize the benefit of buying and selling during inflation. As a seller who's upsizing, you will be at a lower price point as a seller than a buyer, which means there will be much more demand in that range, leading to a higher net sale. When you buy a new house at a higher price point, you will likely face competition, but at a less intense rate. The reason inflation is a benefit is that on average, if your property increases in value, let's say at only 10% this year, the $600,000 house that you sold would have gained $60,000 in equity. In contrast, the $1 million house that you upsize into would increase by $100,000 in equity. This past week, I listed a property for $850,000 and we had multiple offers well above asking price. Ultimately, we agreed to an amazing offer in the $925,000 range, which was $134,000 above the most recent sale in the neighborhood of $791,000. We invested $5,500 to prepare the home for the market, which paid for itself and then some. Check out this video from last week that talks about strategies on how to sell for more. Selling at this price is a massive win for the seller because they set the new standard in their former community. This purchase is also a huge victory for the buyer because of the price projections we just mentioned. Since they went under contract so early during a year where prices could rise as much as 22%, even at this purchase price, they stand to gain equity in 2022. You may be thinking $75,000 is a lot of money to offer over asking, and you're right, it is. However, we have to adapt to the market, and in Northern Virginia, that is the current state. If you think that's good, here's a house located in the community of Willisford that's nearby in Aldie, Virginia. It was built in 2019 and purchased for just under $880,000. 3 years later, this February 2022, it was listed and sold for $1.5 million. Getting back to inflation, one segment of recent purchases driving up inflated home sales prices is due to investors. At the end of 2021, investors accounted for over 18% of residential home purchases. Today, we see much of the same where investors target single-family residential properties. With an already historically low number of homes available both nationally and here in Northern Virginia, buyers are now facing competition with investors who are making supply much more challenging. Highlighting the data of investor purchases supports why I said earlier that now is not a bad time to purchase. Two main reasons investors are eagerly buying a hard asset such as residential properties are the high rate of home appreciation and rent prices have and will continue to rise. Year over year, rental rates have increased 12% on average, and because buyers are either priced out of the market or decide to wait for the market to slow down, demand for rentals will also increase. In the Northern Virginia market specifically, I've seen very little inventory on the market. For example, the hub of Loudoun County, Ashburn, Virginia, currently has only 4 single-family rental properties available, ranging from just under $3,400 to $4,500 per month. The landlord who listed the property for just under $3,400 a month leased the same property in January last year for $2,800. In only 1 year, the landlord raised his rate by $600, and this shows why many investors are willing to jump into the market despite current prices. If you were on the fence about selling or purchasing a home in 2022, are you concerned about how inflation could affect your current or future equity position? While no one has a crystal ball to predict the future with certainty, we all know what goes up must come down, so with higher price point properties, there's a lot further to drop in the event of a slowdown or crash. We also know that waiting too long in this market will cost you. Your goals will dictate which direction will be best whether you decide to buy or sell in 2022. Hey, what's up? If you like watching videos on the Northern Virginia real estate market, or if you'd like to see some of our unique listing videos, check out the playlist right here. Now, guess what? If you never want to miss out again, all you got to do is subscribe. Catch you next time.